so we are cut out, and we are going to have to now mark all of our pieces, and so each one of these needs, we're going to get our chalk, and so we're going to go through piece by piece. So on our first piece is our sleeve, and on our sleeve we've got just a couple. Up here at the top of the cap there is a circle, so I'm going to mark that. So on the wrong side, do a little mark, and then there's 2 dots on the forward portion of the sleeve and on the back. So you know that it's the forward portion has the single notch and the back portion has the double notch. So that's going to help you when you're putting the sleeve on. It's going to help you get that in there correctly. So there's that. Next one is the collar. On the collar we've got the triangles and we've got some circles. So I'm going to mark, I'm going to mark the triangle. Make sure that you are marking the size that corresponds with the size that you cut out. So marking the triangle, that's going to correspond with, the triangle matches your shoulder seam, and these circles, these match where when you're sewing your seam, just where your shoulder, where your seam ends. Kind of that circle is kind of useless, but just mark it anyway. Pocket, we're going to mark your fold line. We always mark the fold line with a little clip from your scissors. So clip, just a little snip. Make sure you're going through. If you're going to do 2, I'm only going to do 1 pocket. But if you're going to do 2, make sure you're going through both layers. Sometimes it's easy to miss the bottom pocket. You just hit the top. Okay. Piece number 4, the shirt back. We're going to do the this little box in the back is called a box pleat. I do the box pleat. I do a nip where these folds are. You can, if you want, you can also mark those circles on the wrong side or the right side. Usually all that's needed is those nips, but when you're first learning to sew, you might want to also do the circles plus the nips. Nip the lines there. You don't have to do both the bottom and the top. It's kind of redundant because you're only basting across the top when we do that. You do not have to do this notch here, this circle here. If you're going to do a side vent, you would do that, but for view B, we are not doing a side vent, so you can ignore that circle on the side. All right, back yoke. We do the triangle. Haha, for all of you smart people that you're like, I just did a triangle on another piece. I wonder if those match. They do. Shapes, just like in kindergarten, we're matching our shapes to our shapes. So that shape there is going to match the shape on our collar when we sew. So then, like here, this little circle here on our yoke, this circle is going to match the circle that we just marked on our sleeve. So isn't that handy? All these different marks, these different shapes that we're marking, they match each other. So here's this big fat circle matches the big fat circle on our sleeve. the small circle matches the small circle on our sleeve. What? Mind blown. I know. Here's this square. This square matches. It doesn't, it's going to be kind of lame. We're going to mark it, but it really is just the seam allowance. It's going to end up being where our shoulder seam is. It matches the square on our collar, but when we sew it, it becomes our seam. And you guys are like, oh, too many words. Yeah, I know, too many words. All right, front. I saved the front for last because there's so many things to mark. Okay, ignore the side. Down at the bottom there's a side circle. That's for that side vent. We're not going to do a side vent. Here we have on the front pocket. If you're right-handed, your pocket goes on the left-hand side. See how that works? You're like, yep, I see. So we're going to mark your front, not the inside, the right side of your shirt, because we need to know where to place that pocket. So there's these two circles, and we need to mark those on the right side of our fabric, so we know exactly where to place our pocket for putting our stuff in it. These lines that are all running, we're ignoring those lines. Those are for doing alterations. This circle around the armhole, we're putting that because that's going to help us put our sleeve. Again, shapes matter. That shape matches the sleeve shape circle. This square up here at up matches all the squares that we've seen on our yoke and on our collar. Up here, where this little fold, there's there's some circles here. We're going to match those. That's going to be where our collar matches. And it is so much easier to do all this marking like right now before you start messing with anything, because you have the most accurate, it is just the most accurate right after you cut it out. Cut it out. You've got a square up here. This square, when it folds over, matches this square. All these things are so matchy, 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 matchy. And then you're going to mark all of your buttonholes. So just one mark down the center front. You will probably end up remarking these. I know. I tell you to mark them, but then you're going to end up remarking them because they get turned around. But mark them on the right side. Don't mark your buttonholes on the inside of your shirt because you won't be able to see them. After you do that, we are all marked. And what we're going to do next is we're going to cut out your interfacing. We'll cut out your interfacing next, so make sure you have it.